As you know, Israel is in the middle of one of its largest conflicts in recent history. As a ministry, we're praying. And as a ministry, we're supporting financially. But from the other side of the world, there's only so much you can do. That's why we have Julie Cerrone, our Israel liaison. She's our constant boots on the ground in the land of Israel. When the war broke out, we weren't sure how soon we'd be able to be face to face with our Jewish friends. But as soon as the Lord made a way, we went into action. Recently, we sent Julie, along with Victory News host Fior Hernandez, to Israel. And when they arrived, they hit the ground running. While there, they connected with our already established partners and friends, being a support as much as possible. They also met new friends, friends we now consider brothers and sisters who are now family. They brought back so many stories, encounters, and testimonies. Favor and protection went before them and surrounded them. They were truly an extension of our partners' love in the wake of such a horrible attack. Today, I want to give you a report on Julie and Fior's trip. They'll share with you all God did and all we were able to accomplish. Let's hear from Julie and Fior as they take you inside the war zone.
At Niroz, we have 100 people who are kidnapped, missing, or murdered. One of 4.
We were prepared with emergency teams, with squad teams in each community, but nothing prepared us to October 7th.
Right here, kind of bullet holes that we see right here, still a very gruesome scene. Blood on the walls, blood on the floor. This is a crib. These are baby blankets. It really is infuriating, and I don't know how anyone could interpret this any other way but terrorism, sheer horror and terror. Look here. These are baby booties, literally charred. This is the truth about what happened on October 7th.
No warriors, no fighters. Warriors do not rape and slaughter people, innocent people, civilians.
Shalom.
Shalom. Our father was living here, and we born here. We
grew up 2 houses from here.
2 doors.
2 doors, yes.
How old your dad?
He was 80
80.
years old.
And
We try to live on in this situation.
From Nir Oz, we're going to go up to Kfar Aza, which is located also 1.4 kilometers from the border.
You can hear it. It's going on right now.
It's the ISIS. We saw this, and they're even worse than the ISIS. And we just found this morning a part of a spine of a person that might identify that person that we're looking for.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
So one of the things that I was thinking about, Fior, is what was that like? You touched down in this city, this beautiful place, yes, the land of Israel, and you touch down and you're getting off of this plane and you walk out. What was that like?
Yes. Honestly, I think you fall in love with that land the moment that your souls touch the ground. I was preparing myself really just in prayer, and I was just because I always wanted, obviously, as every Christian probably does, want to go visit, and as a journalist, of course, you want to go, but certainly you don't think, or I didn't think that I would be there at a time of war.
Sure,
but I was excited. I was excited because that assignment was prophesied. Just on the spiritual side of it, I felt so emboldened, encouraged, and covered because of, again, when I worked for the secular networks, I don't think I would have felt the same way going to this place at this time. Protected, covered, supported, and welcomed to that point.
What, for maybe even for you, which one of those that you visited, because I know your schedule was like all over the map. But out of all of that, which one for you felt like, where am I? How did I get here? This is amazing. But also something that was so significant that you walk away thinking, I've got to tell everybody.
Well, I'd like to answer that this way, and I think maybe Diana can also chime in here, because you went one time, I went one time. And if you recall, I texted you and I said, is it normal or is it okay to miss it?
What do you mean?
To miss the land,
to miss being
the
there.
land, yes. And I said, it's gotta be something supernatural, because altogether, though I was there on assignment for news, and yes, for the ministry, but again, I'm always looking at where's the story, what am I following, what interviews did I get? And then to come home and miss that in a time of war, gunshots blaring in the middle of, we're at the border of communities with Gaza. Again, you can see it all you want on the headlines, you can do all of that, but as just personally, and even as a woman, thinking about the atrocities, the sexual assaults to children.
Yeah.
And as you're walking, spiritually, this happened. It's a truth, and to still see the world, some parts denying this, or the way they speak about it or describe it. I think for me that was very powerful.
I think as a Christian, there's just this heart connection to Israel because it's the land. It's where Jesus walked. It's where all of the Bible was written. And so, yeah, you get back and you're like, can I go back? I mean,
she asked me
45 times.
When she asked me that, she said, is it normal to miss Israel? And my answer was, every single minute I'm not there.
Yeah.
Wow. And of course, one of my favorite stories that you've told so far, and I've heard it a couple times now, is when you met with one of the ZAKA workers.
So ZAKA is the organization in Israel that deals with unnatural death. So if there's a really bad car accident and someone flies off a motorcycle and they're kind of spread out for a block, they clean up, scrape up every body part and piece. And they do it because, one, the body is the temple of God, that God created that body. The blood is sacred. And so they want to bring honor to the body, honor to God, honor to the family. And so they go to painstaking lengths to make sure that they have every piece and part of that person. So we were down in Kfar Aza, which was one of the kibbutzes on the Gaza border communities. And we walk in, and I see this man to my right, and he's surrounded by like 50 police officers, and I recognize him right away. And the reason I recognize him is because after the war broke out, your mother called me and said, oh my gosh, Julie, I heard this interview of this man on Fox Radio, and I just heard a clip of it, and you have to find it. There was something, there's something about him, you just have to find it. And I said, yeah, I have an older contact from ZAKA, we'll look into it. Well, I just got busy and it didn't happen. We go to Israel, show up this day. I see him, and I took a picture of him standing in with the policeman, because I thought, well, this is maybe the closest I'm ever going to get. Because we were on a tour, anyway. And I look over and I see this man from ZAKA, and I said to Shmulik from Karen Hayesod, I said, Shmulik, I need to meet this man. And he goes, okay, so he takes me over there.
We are here till the end, we promised. And this promise was made in Kibbutz Be'eri. It's a very horrible story. When we went in, there was a family of 4 that were killed and slaughtered. And there was a big pile of blood. And my volunteers told me, Yossi, we can't. We going out. I took them back in, I set them down in the blood, and I cut open the strings that the victims that were tied, and I said, let's hold their hands and let's sing a song and let's make a promise that we will not leave this place. That's what we did. We made that promise, and we went, and we're gonna finish it. There's a lot of our volunteers that lost their jobs because they felt they coming for a mission, and they knew if they don't do it, nobody's gonna do it.
He's talking about the needs of the ZAKA workers. And I said to him, look, I don't know what we're going to do, but I promise you, when Pastor Terry hears that I found you, so we're going to do something. We decide we want to do something for the volunteers, and we want to do something. So we agreed upon these cards that they can use for food or for clothing. And it's for, there's ZAKA workers all over Israel, but not all of them would work in the Gaza border communities. So there are 800 that worked in those communities since the war broke out. And so we wanted to do something for those people specifically. And so your mom said, you know, I think we should do $1 million. So then Shmulik arranged a meeting with Yossi, who was the ZAKA worker that I met. And he came to Jerusalem, he walks in, you know, and I'm in this office and with all the ultra-Orthodox, and I already feel a little bit like an alien because I'm wearing pants. And
yes. And you're female.
Yeah. And so, but he walks in and he's just like, we've known each other for, you know, years, and shakes my hand and introduced him to Dylan, my son, who was with me. So he sits down, we talk. Again, he starts sharing, and his face is forever, like his face and now him. He's like, I feel like he's in my heart. And so we talk for a while, and finally Shmulik says to him, did they tell you what the gift is that Kenneth Copeland Ministries is giving? And he goes, no. And I was shocked. I was like, I can't believe he came to a meeting in Jerusalem and he lives in the South. I could have, you know, like Pastor Terry said, she could have shown up and been like, well, here's your Walmart card.
Here's your fruit plate.
So I said, well, you know, we're faith people. And this, you know, came from your mother. But she said, she goes, Julie, she said, I am believing we're going to attach our faith to these finances, that when they take these cards, there'll be a divine exchange for pain, you know, beauty for ashes. And that God's going to do something supernatural for all these people, for the work that they've been doing for him. And, you know, so I told Yossi that, and he said, I believe it, I believe it. And then I said, so the gift is $1 million. And he like was shocked and then burst into tears.
You didn't even reach out to your contacts to connect you to him.
Right.
You didn't do anything. It was such a God connection that he put in Pastor Terry's heart. You had a connection when you saw the video. And then you're just on your trip, doing your thing, following the divine steps that God laid out for you. You look over and there he is. It's so God that we, all of us, our audience, can all expect that in our own lives. Of as we're following God and stepping into his plan and his vision and taking that one step at a time that we don't realize is going to lead to 800 lives changed. The whole family is connected to those 800 cards changed.
And so on these cards that we were able to bless the workers with, all of that came from people, our church, our online audience, e-members, partners, KCM partners, that have sown into this Israel Fund to be able to supply into people like the ZAKA workers.